So I just wanted to talk a little bit about fear. And but I'm gonna tell you something that happened today. Well, it's nothing special, but so I went to the park as usual, training. I'm training calisthenics in the park. It's really beautiful now, the weather. You know, it's basically summer now. And so it's perfect. Training outside, it's perfect. I always do that, but still, it's even nicer now. But dry fasting during the day is getting harder, so I will start drinking water now. I officially did it today, so gotta drink some water while I train, but I don't drink that much throughout the day. Anyway, when you are a little bit different, when you're doing something different, people will eventually recognize this, and it will feel pretty good. I mean, well, it will feel interesting, and you will meet people that might be like-minded and so forth. So this is how you can meet people as well. So I will just explain here. So I'm there in the park. I'm training as usual. You know, people observe you. I'm shirtless. I mean, I have to. It's when I'm training now. It's really. I'm gonna shut this here. It's getting really hot, so I need to be shirtless now. I'm not doing it to show off. I just have to. It's too hot now. I've finished my jumping squats, so I'm reintroducing my my lunges. So I'm there doing these, and eventually I see these guys, two guys, they're watching me, and you know, people always watch me because I'm doing something weird, something strange to most people, especially here. So it depends on where you are, of course. So I'm standing there in the park, you know, grass in the middle, basically, in the center. Everyone can see me. Usually people go with their dogs. And even though it's perfect weather now, it's like 13 degrees Celsius. And even though it's perfect, people walk around as if it's very cold. And so I'm standing there on the grass here, and I finished. I was on my third. I didn't quite finish the lunges. I was on my third set there, so I had one more set, but it doesn't matter. So they come forward towards me, and I'm like, all right, so what do these people want now? So because I actually, you know, they timed it pretty well. I had already finished that third set. So they come forward. I was thinking, all right, they're most likely going to ask me about training and stuff. But I was thinking perhaps they want some cigarettes or something. So I don't smoke, obviously, and I've never been a smoker, never been anything, none of that. So, and even if I had been, I would have dropped all of that right now because I'm all about health. So. Anyway, so these guys, they come forward and we're like, oh, yeah, I've been, and so one of the guys, he tells me, I'm a boxer, so it's interesting what you're doing here, it's different and stuff like that. And I'm telling, yeah, it's a bit weird, but I don't care. I like being weird, I said. I like being weird. So they ask me about, you know, training, and then we start to talk about diets and, you know, fasting, and I tell them about discipline. And I recently thought, actually that day, like, dieting is more about technique. I mean, in the beginning, your goal is, all right, I want to be fit, so I gotta have a proper diet. But then as you go on, to me now, it's about discipline, actually. The diet is about discipline now. It keeps me in check, and I really like that. It keeps me ordered. So, but more importantly, about fear here, they came to me and, you know, what you're doing is different and interesting and stuff. And he related to my movements as well, because apparently they train like this in his boxing training and stuff like that. So I find that interesting. I love MMA. I always loved martial arts. I trained karate as a kid, Shotokan karate, and a little bit of taekwondo as well. But I've also done tennis. I've also played basketball. And what else? I love ping pong. I love table tennis. I love badminton. I love handball. I love soccer, football. I love all of those sports. I love running. I love all sorts of things. I've always loved athleticism. Bruce Lee has always been an idol of mine, and Michael Jordan. When I was a kid, Bruce Lee, Michael Jordan, who else? Those are the biggest. Wayne Gretzky. And so, and I looked at I saw a picture, I noticed a picture at my grandma's, me as a kid in Paris with my sister and my what is it? Like a grandma. It's not a grandma, but my grandpa's sister. And so I'm standing there as a kid with a shirt, with a basketball shirt and Los Angeles Kings. So I always loved sports. I've always been interested in basically everything. There is not much I'm not interested in. It's only perhaps, the cars and stuff like that. But even with cars, I've always loved the design of Lamborghinis, the design of it. I've always loved, and I find it interesting how motors work. And the Tesla cars now are very interesting to me. So there are stuff like, I'm interested in everything. So that is actually one of the tricks there. If you want to be interesting, you should be interested in everything. Anyway, so these guys come to me and we talk a little bit, and so it's fun, you meet people like that, and they recognize your weirdness and stuff like that. But you face those fears. I don't have a fear. I walk without a shirt the whole way back home. I don't care, and it's even the opposite. It's nice how people look at you. You have a little bit of muscles, and most people don't have. And so by just doing that, you will stand out. But not only that, you face those fears. This is a way you can face your fears. Just get out there and train without a shirt, now when it's better weather, and just train and work out, and eventually people will get attracted to you, like this, So, and people wonder, how do I meet people? How do I meet quality people? I mean, obviously these guys weren't in shape, but I piqued their interest. And they also didn't have a fear coming towards me as well. And so forth. So, you have all these, you should break all these fears. Stop having fear of everything and start experimenting a little bit with your body in terms of diet and fasting and stuff like that. Just try things. Just feel free and try things. Now that the weather is so great, you get sunshine as well. That's mainly why I'm actually, it's hot, but not just that. I want the vitamin D. So there is a function to it as well. There is a reason, a deeper reason. And it's always about health. And oh yeah, so the guys, we spoke about death. We talked about some relatives of mine, but a little bit distant relatives, but still, and they knew them, and so I told them, yeah, they're my relative. I know about them and so forth. So, we spoke of death there, and so I told them, basically everything we're doing is moving away from death, avoiding death. That's why I'm training, getting better and so forth, always being in shape and healthy. That's all basically that. And no matter what we're doing, if you're a philosopher or a journalist, or I don't care what you are, a designer, it's always about some sort of survival behind everything. So, but it's interesting, break those fears. Go out there, go to a park, without a shirt, and start doing push-ups. And I don't care. It doesn't matter if you can only do. They don't know how many you can do. It doesn't matter. You don't care about that. And if it's cold in the winter, It doesn't matter, it matters even less when people aren't there as much, so it won't be a lot of people there. So just go out there. Even doing 10 push-ups, it's way more interesting than most people there. And most people just walking with their dogs, like the guy said. He said that most people are just walking with the dogs and stuff, but you're here training in the middle of everything, and it's interesting how they thought it was interesting. Now, to me, this is normal now. To me, this is normal now. It's not that interesting, but you know, it's always interesting in some sense. You know, I'm always developing myself, always, you know, focusing on some new parts and you know, getting in better shape all the time, always improving and changing a little bit and so forth, but not too much. You want to stay consistent. So the most important is always show up there, always show up, and I always will. So eventually people will recognize you and it will be fun. And so, you know, break those fears. I understand if you don't have a great shape now, and it doesn't matter, You just fast, eat properly, train, and you get in shape, your confidence will skyrocket, and you will be great, So face those fears, that's the most important. Face those fears. I had a fear. All right, so my own fear. I had this fear, you know, I couldn't go shirtless. I always, you know, felt embarrassed about my fat on my lower abs, and I don't fear that anymore. I don't care anymore, even though of course I care how much body percentage I have, a little bit, but I just adjust a little bit on my OMAD. Instead of 2 hours, I go 1 hour, or I fast a little bit longer. I have the tools. When you have the tools, you know, knowledge is power. When you have the tools, you apply them, and you get experience throughout the years, and you face those fears. You will remove those fears. People will see you glowing. People will recognize you. It's fun. You laugh. You know, all of that. It's not always fun. Of course, there's hardship, but life should be joyous. So that's that. I will see you tomorrow.